Hey guys, Tomboy61, and today we have a review of the Charles Hughes, the all-new Tier 6 American destroyer. I know what you're thinking, we have enough of them already, do we really need another? I'll tell you, probably not on this one. Just to be clear and upfront, Wargaming did provide the ship as for review purposes, so just keeping those disclosures all up front. We're going to be going over the stats, a little talk on the history, and then we'll be showing off a game in this ship. Overall, I am not too impressed with this one, so let us just dive on in. So, Charles Hughes, well, she's an American destroyer, 14,300 hit points with between 1 and 20 millimeters of armor. I'm not going to put up the armor view just because it's a destroyer, guys. You know what the armor view on a destroyer looks like. It ain't anything special, and if you really are curious, go look up the Benson, because this is a Benson class ship. Anyways, no torpedo reduction on that armor as well. Main battery, she has 4 one-barreled 127mm guns with a firing range of 10.6 kilometers and a reload time of 3.5 seconds. It's going to fire 69 shells per minute, nice, with a 180 time of 5.3 seconds, doing 1,800 damage with HE, which gives you about 124,200 DPM. You have a 5% chance to set fire. AP, you're going to do 2,100 damage, giving you 144,000 damage per minute. Does not have any secondary, so let's move on to torpedoes. Just like the Benson, she has two 5-barreled launchers that are center line mounted, which means she can fire it on either side. Reload time on those, 110 seconds. With 11,733 damage for each torpedo that hits. Detectability range on them, 1.3 kilometers, with a torpedo speed of 64 knots. Torp range on them, a very short 6.4 kilometers. AA range, let's move on to that. AA, you're going to get 5-kilometer AA range, minimum damage on it, 43 DPS, and a max of 80. Max speed of the vessel, 38 knots, with turning radius of 570 meters and a rudder shift time of 2.7 seconds. Concealment detectability by sea is going to be 6.8 kilometers, detectability by air 3.5 kilometers, and detectability while firing in smoke 2.6 kilometers. As far as a commander, well, I'm going to be running and recommending Vincent Mordiff. He is the Halloween event commander that's going to boost the main battery reload time. We're running inspirations as Eric Bay or William Sims with observant range. Look at me now. Perceptive, sheltered arms, and unstoppable. If you don't have Mordiff, Halsey is essentially an exact mirror for him. Basically, the only things that changes down here, we get smoke on the water, and his base trait is going to increase the AP damage of the ship as opposed to reducing the reload time on those main batteries. Let's go ahead and talk through the consumables and the modules of the ship. Ship mods, in slot 1, I'm recommending Aiming System Mod 1. In the second mod, I'm recommending Prop Mod, and in the third slot, I'm recommending that Concealment Mod, though I do think you could make an argument for target acquisition, just because if you're going to be sitting in smoke and you get people trying to push you, that may be somewhat useful, but that's really up to you. As far as the consumables on the vessel, well, you have the damage control party, which is bog standard, 5-second duration with a 40-second reload time. Smoke generator, it's going to last 27 seconds, have a dispersion time of 121 seconds, reload time of 240 seconds, and you get 2 charges of it, and you also get an engine boost. It's going to boost your max speed by 8%, giving you increasing the consumable duration of 120 seconds, and it's going to take 180 seconds to reload, and you'll get 2 charges of it. And that is the kind of the stats on the Charles Hughes. Now, the history of the Charles Hughes, it's not that spectacular. Basically, it's the same class of ship as a Benson, but it wasn't too stable, so they removed one of the guns from it, and they added some extra AA armament, which is manifested in game by having one less main battery and a little bit better AA damage overall. Now, does that make this a good vessel? No. We'll go ahead and start the game, and we'll go ahead and talk through that now. So the Charles Hughes, it's a mess, guys. I don't know why you would want to buy this ship, honestly. It pretty much matches Benson in every single stat other than a couple. One, it has one less gun, so that means you're going to be doing less damage because, of course, you have one less barrel pointing at the enemy. Two, it has weaker shells because, of course, the Benson received a damage buff as part of a way to try to boost the tech tree ships. So the Benson, while you have an identical reload time, pretty much gun swing time, like you have pretty identical everything on this vessel, it's going to be doing 100 more damage per shell, 100 damage more per shell than you are in this. You're going to have one less gun. And what are you trading for that disadvantage? Well, the only thing this has significantly different, that beyond just the boost to AA damage, is going to be in the torpedoes. You're giving up almost 2 kilometers in range on those torpedoes. Benson's torp range is 9.2 kilometers. This one's 6.4, so actually 3 kilometers in range. To get torpedoes that are 10 knots quicker, 10 knots per hour quicker, and do 100 more damage. Like, I don't... Why you would buy and purchase the ship, I don't know. I had a similar kind of feeling with the Sims, but at least the Sims had those unique torps that made it have a different playstyle than the rest of the ships. This just has it's the Benson, but worse sort of playstyle. Anyways, we got into the B cap here. You do just have to play this ship like an American gunboat. You are still pretty decent at being able to gun down other ships. You still have a fairly quick reload time. You're fairly maneuverable, so if you can kind of start sailing away from enemies, you can usually do some pretty good damage. We see Atago right there is sailing in a pretty straight line, trying to support something or doing something in C. So we go ahead, lay down the torps on him because he's well within range. We go ahead and capture B. We see Paolo pops up. We're going to go ahead and start engaging the Paolo because if the Atago sees us and turns in, that's going to benefit us because we've fairly well spread this the area with torps, and we can see they're looking good. We get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hits with the torps taking down Atago, and we get the little tiny ribbons on the side. It's a good time right there. Paolo is sailing straight, hasn't activated his super smoke yet, or maybe he had already done it and now he's fully into the YOLO. I'm not 100% sure what his plan was, but he does appear to be on the track to YOLO. So we're going to go ahead and help gun him down and head on over to C. As I was saying, Charles Hughes, it's a collector ship. I think, personally, my opinion as to why this ship got added, a couple months back, I talked about how COVID, we would start seeing probably a downturn in this game because of COVID, just because of lockdowns and like it probably put certain plans behind schedule. I think this is an example of one of those ships. It doesn't seem... I don't understand why it was brought into the game. It doesn't have a niche really to speak of. And I think this was just a quick import because, of course, next week we're getting the first premium aircraft carrier, and I think the devs were like, okay, let's quick import the Hughes. Let's copy over the Benson stats into it, call it a day, and let's go ahead and focus up on this new aircraft carrier. We've already seen the devs kind of talk about that there's going to be an incoming balancing pass on the aircraft carriers that are coming through. Also, look at that. We missed out on the Paolo kill right there. Real unfortunate. Anyways, we've already heard the devs talk that there's going to be an incoming balancing pass specifically to concealment on the aircraft carriers, and that this upcoming aircraft carrier is more in line with the concealment we should anticipate to see on the remaining of the aircraft carriers, on the aircraft carriers already in the game. So, with that being said, I think personally they may have decided to invest resources in looking into next week's premium ship. That's my guess. I don't have an inside track, but that's kind of the feeling I get, because let me tell you, it does not make sense to me that we literally have a ship that is the exact copy. Like it is the exact same thing as a Benson with -1 turret, and we've already acknowledged the ship with one more turret needed a shell buff. Like in my metaverse, in my head, that means like the US developed a better shell for these guns, gave it to one of the same class of ship, and we're like, should we load it into the other? And the guys on the docks were, nah, it only goes to this one ship. What are you talking about? It's literally like I don't know. Anyways, we took C, we took B. It is now time to head over to A. So that is exactly what we're going to do. If you can't tell, guys, Charles Hughes, not my favorite ship. It just is not overall. I think if you want to play an American DD, there is plenty of other ships you can play. If you want the king of gunboats, well, there is the Kid, though technically Benson does out DPM it right now, which is a bit odd. But, you know, Kid has more health. If you want a torpedo boat, there's Benham there. If you want more of a hybrid, there's Sims. This Charles Hughes just doesn't find the correct home. It just doesn't have the right bits, the correct stats to really stand out. Can you do okay in it? Yeah, it's still an American destroyer boat. It still does fairly well. But when there's what's already on offer at tier 6 for the American destroyers, why would you choose this ship? I cannot wait. Like, these will probably be the last games I play in it until like a couple patches from now. It might get a buff. Like, the least they could do is give it the same damage buff that they gave the Benson, but who knows? I personally, I know I say this a lot, but I think utility is king. It would have been nice if they buffed the utility on this somehow. Give it the enhanced AA. Like, in IRL, the real Charles Hughes had that turret deleted and added AA. It was for it being unstable in choppy seas, but we don't have to worry about choppy seas in this game. It's not something we have to grow accustomed to. Or because it was something to increase the handling, give this ship a better turning radius, give the ship a better rudder shift time, give it a little bit more top speed. But it has the exact same stuff as the Benson, right? Like, I just can't with, like, they didn't do much for this ship, and there's no reason for you to go out there. But that's just my opinion. Anyways, we saw Torpedoes was coming around the corner. We go ahead and launch a tight spread and a wide spread. I like doing this, the tight and the wide spread, just because it helps cast the net a little bit wider. So if a ship only decides to hit the brakes and it's just going to miss that narrow spread, the wide spread still does usually end up making it so that you can do some damage. And we see right there, we ended up getting 2 hits onto the Torpedoes like that. And that definitely helped to sink it right there. That's just been one of my go-to kind of tool tips here. And right here is where I mix up what direction I turn. Instead of turning out, I turn straight into the torps. 1 torp, 2 torps, and that ends my day. So yeah, guys, that is the Charles Hughes. What do you guys think? Let me know down in the comments below. As always, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. See ya.